Ladies and gentlemen, we have the major concession holder in Poland, 15 concession for prospecting and exploration shale gas, and number of other concession for conventional gas, over 4 billion cubic meters produced annually from conventional sources, largest company. And so Marcin, I just wanted to start, how is the work progressing for shale gas, for PGNiG?
As you said, we are quite uniquely positioned across the shale gas belt spanning from Pomerania to Lubelskie Voivodeship in Poland. We have 15 licenses located in all three basins, namely Baltic Basin, Lublin Basin, and Central or Podlaskie Basin. And we still consider Pomerania as the most promising, most prospective region where we concentrate our efforts. And we believe this is the place where shale gas will kick off, will start in Poland. But we also want to have a closer look at our other areas, and Lublin Basin will be second in the pipeline of our projects. As for the works, well,
are you satisfied?
Yes, to a degree. Yes, I mean it's still an early stage, and I think it's good that some of the hype that we experienced in the last 2 years was deflated. But I'm still quite optimistic about shale gas in Europe, seeing such crowd at the Shale Gas World Europe conference, and it's hard not to be upbeat seeing all those people. Trying to get a better understanding of the opportunities ahead of us, and I feel that there is a real opportunity, and the wells that we drilled so far prove that a stable, consistent approach to drilling with the aim of seeking a knowledge and understanding of those different plays that we have in Polish shale will give us good results. We have a very consistent and straightforward approach. We start with a pilot well, testing the well thoroughly and getting all the geological data that is required for further analysis. Then we shoot a 3D seismic over the area that is of interest for us, and its interpretation is augmented, it's enhanced by the data obtained from that pilot well, and the following element is the horizontal well with fracking to assess the initial flow and the curve of that flow. And of course, well, this is both a lengthy procedure, as was noted in your earlier interview, and also a costly one. But we believe that such a straightforward and consistent approach across our licenses will give us a good understanding of what opportunities of commercial shale production in Poland we may have in a couple of years.
But on the other hand, a number of investors decide to relinquish their blocks, and they are not satisfied with geology. Is PGNiG sort of unique because you keep drilling, and
well, we are not the only ones that keep drilling, but and also we are not a global portfolio player. I mean, for many investors, their decisions are based either on their current strategy or financial constraints that they encounter, or on portfolio decisions on how to shape their global presence. For PGNiG, Polish shale may be this generational opportunity and a springboard for the future of companies. So we will not abandon that ship first. We'll be probably the last one to go if we need to.
How about capital expenditures? I mean, can you afford all those the pretty ambitious program in drilling?
So far, we did not have major issues with that, although we have our constraints, and there is a certain amount of capex that we can invest every year in relatively risky undertakings such as shale gas exploration, and that is why we adopt this attitude of openness, where we are ready to exchange data and exchange ideas and know-how with operators in Poland, simply to get quicker results and better understanding of the geology of Polish shale, and also have the insight of other geologists and specialists from other companies, often experienced in shale exploration abroad, simply to limit our capex expenditures on this early exploration stage.
You must have read the draft geological and mining law, or the amendment to the geological and mining law. What do you think about the national operator of national resources? I mean, do you welcome the national operator in your concessions?
Well, that will be a company from the same stable that PGNiG is, so perhaps I'm not in position to criticize the idea, but I understand the concerns of some of the investors that have the possibility to consider different regimes and different shale plays across the globe. I mean, it's never easy to get a mandatory partner. I mean, it's always better to be able to choose and to organize your undertaking, your consortium or JV in a manner that you plan yourself. The devil lies in the details. I mean, probably the business community welcomes the fact that the regulatory role of NOCA was trimmed and is no longer so pronounced. Also, the fact that it's gone from the bidding procedure as a factor in bidding is something to be welcome. But as I said, I mean, we'll see how it works. It's probably not the easiest thing to swallow in that project, in the draft.
How about the volunteer partners in your concession blocks? President Kurella in July 2013 announced potential cooperation with partners. So what is the status of farm-in, farm-out processes in Poland?
It has two levels. I mean, what President said is that we will adopt a far more open attitude towards knowledge and data sharing in comparison with what PGNiG was doing earlier. I mean, we are not seen as the most open player across the Polish shale arena, and this is supposed to change, and we will act in a different manner with far more openness and readiness for dialogue with other investors, and I think this will prove very beneficial for the whole shale community in the country. At the other hand, we are also keen on attracting experienced strategic partners who have know-how not only from European shale exploration, but also, for instance, in some know-how gained in US or Canada, simply to get a better understanding of both how the geology may work in Poland and how the projects should be completed and managed.
Is there an interest in the PGNiG concessions? Are they knocking to your doors?
There is interest. Mostly, we are mostly in discussion with some of the players that are already present in Poland to exchange both data and perhaps engage in some projects that could be beneficial for all parties involved. But as for newcomers, I think many are standing at lines eyeing the developments of Polish geological law and the taxation regime, and also looking at the initial results of those who are already present. The land grab period has ended, and the acreage is spread around those who are first to grab it. So it's now probably the time to wait for better valuations, for better understanding of geology before newcomers start pouring in again.
How about the restrictions in the new draft geological and mining law? It's pretty restrictive. It's pretty stiff. For example, it's the limited extension of prospecting phase. There is reporting obligations pretty often, and the number of investors have problem with it. And what do you think? Whether this is a good motivator for companies to keep drilling?
I think it's clear from how the whole shale project in Poland developed that one of those factors that made Poland very attractive in the beginning was the relative ease of regulatory burdens and fiscal burdens when the whole shale gas boom started, and I think we moved pretty far away from those early stage regulations, and for some of the players present in Poland, their decision on relinquishing the Polish concessions could be a portfolio decision motivated not only by geology but also by the change in our comparative standing related to some other shale gas regions and countries where those operations of those possibilities are opening, such as Argentina, Mexico, South Africa, China, Pakistan. So we are not the only ones that compete for investors in this world, and this tightening of our policy may have its backlash.
I just have a question about the transfer from prospecting and exploration concessions to exploration and production concessions. It is addressed in the draft geological and mining law. It just objectively seems okay, but the condition for that is the acceptance of NOKI. So how do you address the transfer? I mean, are you aware of the transfer of the concessions for prospecting, exploration to exploration and production?
I do not yet have a clear answer on that. I mean, this is probably something we'll be looking at after the final draft of the law is passed by the legislator, and we'll see how it plays out. It's too early to say if the shape of NOKA and its impact on both existing and new licenses will be felt across the scene.
Mm-hmm. How about the social acceptance? Because number of companies in Poland, they have a problem with the social acceptance. There are protests. I have not identified major issues that PGNiG would have with the social acceptance. Is there any golden rule you could give to companies that are prospecting? You know, how to deal with the communities to have the acceptance?
I don't feel we are in position to give advice, because the players present in Poland are the top-notch major international actors. But I believe that the fact that indeed we did not encounter any major issues related to social public acceptance of our work is managed on two levels. One is the level that we have only limited influence on, and that is how the Polish general public understands the opportunity related to shale gas in Poland. And I think that this country is somehow unique in its zeal and acceptance for shale as one of the ways forward for both the economy and sustainable development of the country. It's the question of the question of how reliant on import of gas we were so far, and how the situation could change with more domestic production. It's about gasification and infrastructure. It's about the potential of moving away from coal as a primary fuel for power generation, which was already highlighted here during the conference. Finally, it's a question of new investment, both in infrastructure and in local communities. But touching upon local communities, this general approach in which polls are, I think, 78% in favor of shale gas, well, changes when we get down to local community level, and when we actually enter the particular location where works are about to start or continue. In such case, everybody feels that there is some not in my backyard approach. But again, our, I think we may say so, good reputation coupled with numerous efforts to engage the public, to engage the authorities, local authorities, local opinion leaders, and to provide both the background information of how shale gas operations are conducted, and providing information about the benefits associated with such investments, which are jobs for people, contracts for local entrepreneurs, new infrastructure, new roads, new bridges, new water systems and wells. All this kind of facilitates the mutual understanding between us and people with whom we work.
Just one final question about the future. You have a number of concessions that would for unconventional gas that would expire last year. Have you already applied for their extension, or are you going to apply for their extension, or they will basically terminate without extension?
You're asking about the shale gas concessions?
Shale gas concessions, yes.
No, we'll try to stick to the concessions that we have. I think there is one that we deem not that interesting, and perhaps we'll abandon it. But otherwise, we'll stick to what we have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marcin.
My pleasure.
Pleasure.